It's different this time to get onto Facebook. It's weird.
I see it. It's live.
Oh, we're live?
It says it up top, yeah.
One of these days, we're going to get it right. All right, good evening, everybody. It is June 18th, 2020. Welcome to the second podcast of Legacy Battle. We want to thank everyone who watched the first episode. If you haven't seen it, it's available on the group page. If you haven't already, please join the group. Just search Legacy Battle or ask one of us for an invite. You can start your own debates in the chat area. That'll be fun. If you want to know more about our panelists, please go back, watch the first show. Our next debate is going to be July 9th, 2020, with the return of hockey in July. The topic is going to be number 99, the great one, Wayne Gretzky, versus number 66, the magnificent one, Mario Lemieux. If you're watching tonight for the trivia question for the free prize, it'll be announced later in the show. If nobody gets it, we'll post it on the group page. So I just want to say happy Father's Day to all the dads out there listening. Special happy Father's Day to my dad, Ken Adams, who better be listening. So Brett, who would you like to say happy Father's Day to, and how are you?
Oh, I'll say happy Father's Day to my father-in-law, Lee. I'm looking forward to it, obviously, again, myself. I've got 2 kids, so I really enjoy this day. Happy Father's Day to, yourselves as well. Hope everybody has a nice, relaxing weekend. And again, I could go on and on for the people, but I'll keep it short and move on to anybody else who wants to give a shout out.
Brian, how about you?
Yeah, happy Father's Day to my dad, Jim King. I'm going to try and get him to listen to this later on. But yeah, I mean, he definitely inspired a lot of love for sports for me. I remember watching football games on Sunday afternoons with him, the Steelers. And I mean, most Pittsburgh natives kind of know that, when you're a little kid, you didn't get tucked in with nursery rhymes. You got tucked in with stories about Terry Bradshaw and Franco Harris and Mean Joe Green. And my dad was no different. So I'm pumped up about the sports legacy that he passed on to me. And I hope all the dads out there enjoy their special day.
Kevin, how about you?
Yeah, same. You and I share the same father, obviously. So happy Father's Day to Ken Adams. Like you said, he better be watching. Like Brett said, happy Father's Day to all you, because you guys all have kids. Brian, you're a stepfather, so you're just as much as a dad as the rest of us. So happy Father's Day to you as well. And any of my friends and family that are watching or not watching, that dads, hope you guys have a good Father's Day weekend. But special thanks to my dad, because he sacrificed a lot, paid a lot of money to help take me to my soccer games that were in other states, tournaments that I played in, ice hockey games that were in West Virginia, Maryland, taking me to all the practices and tournaments and everything. So, special thanks to him for, helping me live my dream to play sports.
And he took me to a Steelers game where Dwayne Woodruff picked one off and took it all the way back. I never forgot that. That was my first Steelers game. So that's going back quite a ways. But anywho, so we are trying to get one more person. He's been working on it for a while. He may or may not be able to join us. He was just going to be another judge for tonight's debate. So let me just jump right into it. Here are the rules for tonight's debate. Each debater was given 2 picks for best duo. And in each bracket, they're going to be allotted 2 minutes timed to make the case for their pick. And whoever they're up against will get a 1-minute timed rebuttal, and then vice versa, of course. The winner will be voted on by us and move on to the next round. There are 4 debates in the first round. These debates should be quick. The time is very little, so we're looking at 6-7 minutes on to the next debate. And all of us, pretty sure, have timers, so we'll be keeping the time so that it's being done right. All right, so our first round matchup, bring up my brackets here. We'll call it matchup 1A, is going to be the Mannings, Archie, Peyton, maybe some Eli, who knows,
Gotta throw them in.
I gotta throw them in. And that'll be represented by Brett, and they will be going against the Roonies, Art and Dan and Art Jr., Art Senior, who knows, there's a whole crew of them in our first round 1A matchup, and they'll be represented by Brian. So for the timer, they'll get a 30-second warning. I'll say 30 seconds, and they'll know they only have 30 seconds to finish. And I will say go to get them started. So I had my timer up, and of course it went away.
It's all right. I got mine too ready if we need it.
All right. All places were done by a coin flip, and Brett will be going first based off of coin flip. All right, you ready, guys?
Yeah, let's do it.
Do it.
All right, Brett, ready? Go.
All right. So good evening, everybody. I'm going to jump right into it again. I have the Mannings, and yes, this is a trio, not just a father-son duo. We have Archie Manning, and then his sons Peyton and Eli. Obviously, if you know sports, you should know that they were all starting NFL QBs. Obviously, the sons had a little bit more of a better career than their father did overall. But I guess one of the main things I bring up with this is how difficult it is to become a starting QB in the NFL. When you look at statistics, roughly only 1 out of every 205,000 athletes, high school athletes who are QBs, will actually make it to a starting QB position in the NFL. So, I mean, you're looking at that family has 3. And again, 1 out of every 205 will make it to a starting position. I thought that was pretty good point to start with. Another reason I think that they're so important is QBs are the leader of a team. If the QBs are having a bad day or an off day, that can mean the entire team is having an off day. But again, throw something out there. Peyton Manning, 8 divisional championships, 2 AFC championships, 1 Super Bowl championship. You look at Eli, 2 Super Bowl championships, 4-time Pro Bowler, 2 Super Bowl MVPs. Both Peyton and Eli were Walter Payton Man of the Year award recipients. Again, you also can look at
30.
Peyton had 16 straight seasons of 25 or more TD passes. I mean, these stats just speak for themselves when it comes to you looking at what type of legacy they're going to leave in their sports. And even their father, who only had he had 13 seasons, he had 24,000 passing yards, or roughly 2,200 rushing yards, Saints Ring of Honor and Saints Hall of Fame. So that's where I got the Manning.
Time. Okay. I believe we have John now. Is he on?
Yep.
Hey, okay. How are you tonight, John?
I'm doing well, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is our special guest, ladies and gentlemen. He is our judge to break all ties. He is a Air Force veteran, and he is a fantasy football champion like the rest of us here. So, Mr. John Phillips, anybody want to say Happy Father's Day too real quick?
Yeah, just a real quick shout out to my little brother, Joe. Happy Father's Day. Definitely me and him had some good battles growing up playing basketball, and definitely someone I look up to. So happy Father's Day to Joe.
Excellent. Good to have you on board. All right, we're going to go to Brian's 1-minute rebuttal. Brian, are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, on this one, I'll give you a 15-second warning, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
All right, ready? Go.
Okay, so yeah, you mentioned the Mannings, and the Mannings are an impressive family, no doubt. But you look at Archie. Archie's not a Hall of Famer. I mean, he was good, but he's not a Hall of Famer. I mean, he never even led a team to a winning season throughout his career. It's kind of hard to build this great legacy argument whenever you've got one guy that was, I mean, he was mediocre. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to take anything away from Peyton. And be honest, I thought this was father-son thing, so I didn't even know another son was going to get thrown in there. But if you want to throw Eli in there, that's cool. The 3-time NFL interception leader over his career. I mean, was there anybody as inconsistent as Eli Manning, like, ever? I mean, yeah, he peaked out and won a couple Super
15.
Bowls, but man, he had some awful seasons in there where, I mean, he couldn't even hit the broadside of a barn. So it's just, I don't know. I mean, like I said, I don't want to take anything away from Peyton, but your supporting guys are not really impressing me much.
Time. Okay. All right, now Brian will make the case for the Rooneys. Ready? Go.
Okay, we got Art and Dan Rooney. Okay, now these two are both Hall of Famers. Father-son combo, 80 plus years of Steelers football, 6 Super Bowl wins, 8 Super Bowls total. The legend Howard Cosell, he said the Rooneys are the finest people, the most respected in American sports ownership. I mean, you can't even talk about American sports without talking about the Rooneys. They are entwined in the entire history of American sports. Not only did Art Rooney found the Steelers, he was instrumental in bringing the Penguins to to Pittsburgh. He was also he kind of silently donated money to the Homestead Grays to keep the Negro League team going. This guy was just at the forefront. Whenever the merger went down in 1970, Art Rooney was the guy who volunteered. I'll take the Steelers. I'll put them in the AFC. I'll make things balanced, in the league. Dan Rooney, when things were going down with the salary cap in the early 90s, he was the one that helped develop the salary cap. The reason why we know football the way it is today is because of Dan Rooney. So these guys were just the ultimate legacy when it comes to American sports. Period. So. And you look at just like some of the intimate details. I mean, they had a draft where they drafted
30.
In 1974. They drafted 4 Hall of Famers all in one draft. Just amazing. Even on some like on the forefront of some racial issues. Dan Rooney, he went through it. He instituted the Rooney Rule so that there be fair hiring practices for NFL coaches for minorities. That was a very important thing they did. He also Art Rooney. He was totally against bringing Dallas a team back in 1960 because of the segregated South.
All right, very good. Let's go to the judges. Kevin.
Do I need to do my?
Doesn't Brett get a rebuttal?
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, let Brett have a rebuttal.
Yeah, Brett, I'll give you the 15-second warning. Okay.
All right, sounds good.
Ready? 1 minute. Go.
All right. So again, you can't really argue with a lot of the people that we're bringing up. The Rooneys were definitely influential in their aspect, but I just have to bring up one question about them is outside of really Pittsburgh, and again, they did come up with that Rooney Rule regarding the hiring, but outside of Pittsburgh, what type of legacy are they really leaving? I feel like, with the Mannings, they've reached a whole different generation, a whole different population, even outside of their own cities where they played. They made a huge influential impact in the sport of the NFL, just like the Rooneys did. But I just think they reached it to a broader audience than just the Rooneys. Can't deny what those Rooneys did in Pittsburgh, but the main argument I would have against them is simply, other than Pittsburgh,
15.
the Steelers, what have they done to really influence, even the youth of football? I'm done.
Okay. Yeah, and if you guys don't want to use your whole time, just say done. So
Perfect.
Let's go to the judges. Kevin, you can go first. Which one you taking?
So y'all both had some points. Mannings. I mean, yeah, Peyton, Eli won Super Bowls. And as Brian pointed out, Archie was kind of. I mean, yeah, he was all right, but he didn't really have too much success like his sons did. Rooney's, I'm from Pittsburgh, but I'm going to try and leave the bias out of it. But, the Rooneys have done a lot for that franchise, and they've really molded and they are tied for the most Super Bowl victories in the NFL. And if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, yeah, these are all points you can make if you got to go up against them in a debate. Who do you taking?
I'm going to have to go with the Rooneys.
The Rooneys? John?
Yep. Like he said, great debate on both sides, but I'm going with the Mannings.
I'm going to have to agree. I am a Steelers fan, and I do believe the Rooneys have done great for football, but I don't know if there's a bigger name right now than Peyton Manning out there. He's on TV everywhere. He's hosting Saturday Night Live.
He had sexual assault allegations.
Hey, those are for rebuttals later.
Yeah. Hey, quit stealing my stuff here.
Okay.
Right.
So,
I
yeah,
thought it was based on what we said.
Exactly. That's what the debate is based off of what was said.
Right. Yeah.
And I do
True.
agree that Archie is not a Hall of Famer. Wow, that's tough. And I got the splitting vote here. So honestly, I got to go with the Mannings. So the Mannings will move on a 2-1 vote.
And I just want to point out one of the Rooneys was also a
Hey,
ambassador.
no, stop. You can't do that.
I thought he's out. The Rooneys
Okay, that's fine. Good point. They
Yeah.
are out, but okay. So we don't want to give our reasons as to why, because we may be debating against these people later.
I'm aware.
So, all right, Mannings move on to the second round. All right, 1B is Barry and Bobby Bonds, represented by me. I lost the coin flip, so I want to go first. And Ken Griffey Jr. and Sr. represented by Kevin, who will go second. Who wants to take the timer on this one?
I got it.
You got it?
Sorry about
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, Red. Who's first now?
I'm first.
You're first. Okay. And go.
Bobby and Barry Bonds. Let me just go to the stats of why they're going to be better than the Griffeys. 1,094 homers, 975 combined stolen bases, 3,020 RBIs, 17 All-Star games, 11 Gold Gloves, 7 National League MVPs, 12 Silver Slugger Awards, 3 Hank Aaron Awards, 2 batting average and home run titles, 1 National League RBI title, 6-time slugging leader, 6-time on-base percent leader. Barry is the all-time leader in walks. He has 2,558 walks. That's more hits than most people have. It's amazing. And that's 270 more walks more than the next closest person. He has 688 intentional walks. That means they put him on base because they didn't want to pitch to him. And that is 400 better than the next person who's in second place, which is Albert Pujols. Barry obviously is the all-time leader in home runs in a season. His father, Bobby, was Major League Baseball's first player with more than 2 30-30 seasons. And he did it 5 times. And that's only been matched once in history. You know who did that? Oh, that would be Barry Bonds, his son. Barry is second all-time behind Babe Ruth in wins above replacement. Barry's the only 500 player in baseball history. And Bobby, his father, is considered the player who redefined the leadoff position. He held the record for most homers by a leadoff hitter until 1996. So stats-wise, there's no one that can beat them. I'm done.
Okay, Kevin, your 1 minute rebuttal. Start.
What?
Your 1 minute rebuttal.
All right. So, of course, you're going to mention the stats. Well, yeah, they walked him because they're afraid of him being juiced up and knocking the cover off the ball into their face. Barry Bonds is a disgrace to baseball. He used performing enhancement drugs. He's been juicing since 1998, and actually another lab came out and said that they actually gave him performance and enhancements in 1997. If you look at his pictures early in his career to now, or to later in his career, he tripled his eyes because he was juicing. He admitted that he was juicing, but still tried to blame the trainer. His trainer's home was got a search warrant where they found documents where he was using banned drugs. There was where he admitted that he was giving them drugs. There was a calendar of when he was getting his performance-enhancing drugs. He has the same thing in common with McGuire, Sosa, and Canseco. They're not in the Hall of Fame. I'm done.
That's it. Okay, now your 2 minutes begin now, Kevin.
All right. So like I said, I knew he was going to go straight to the stats. But we're talking about legacies here. All right. The Griffeys are, if not the best duo in baseball history, they might be one of the best duos in all of sports. All right. They made history when they became the first father-son duo to play in the major league simultaneously. They played in the same lineup, the only father-son duo to do that. They hit back-to-back home runs at one point. Only father-son to do that. Ken Griffey Jr. Doesn't have any scandals. He didn't use any drugs. He's never even came up in the performance enhancement drugs. I don't need to go over stats. Yeah, the Bonds have better stats, but it's all about the legacy. Griffey Jr. alone has a better legacy than the Bonds combined. Both senior and junior have had long careers, 19 years and 22 years. They've senior won 2 World Series. Bonds senior didn't do that. Griffey has his own video game. He had his own shoe lineup. He won the Major League Humanitarian Award. He's won Slugger Awards, Golden Glove Awards too. He had 10 by himself, which the Bonds had 11 combined. They were Barry Bonds. He didn't even give permission for him to use his name in video games because he wanted to go out and get his own licensing deal. Griffey there was quotes about Ken Griffey Jr. by Bryce Harper saying that he's changed the game for the better. There's not gonna be another player just like Ken Griffey Jr. Managers for Griffey Sr. Have said that he's nothing but a class act. Seattle's manager said that if he wanted to find somebody who is a winner, a player who can come in and be a strong influence on young players, it would be Ken Griffey Jr. Sr. His manager in Cincinnati said he was a role model, nothing but class. Griffey Sr. was a role model. He left a legacy. He mentored players. His son had better stats than him.
Time. He said time.
Okay. Mike, your rebuttal now.
Let's talk about legacy of the Griffeys. It's not as great as everybody thinks. Ken Griffey never used drugs. Really, he attempted suicide in 1988. He took nearly 300 aspirin, was found passed out, covered in his own vomit, taken to the hospital, and had to have his stomach pumped to save his life. And yes, he admitted that he tried to kill himself. Aspirin may not be a drug, but he was there. Ken Griffey Sr. clashed with manager Sparky Anderson all the time over stealing bases and his spot in the lineup during the World Series. I can't think of a worse time to be arguing with your manager. And you keep saying, oh, Barry Juice, never found guilty of juicing. And I would like to point out that Ken Griffey Sr. stated in 2016 that steroid users should be in the Hall of Fame. And Junior's injury prone, 12 trips to the DL in his career, and even missed 260 games in a 3-season span. I'm done.
All right.
All right, let's go to the judges. John, you heard it. What do you think?
Yep, I heard it. Unfortunately, you can't get away from the fact that he tainted his legacy, Barry Bonds, by juicing. Even if he wasn't found guilty, that whole season of him and Canseco is kind of an asterisk behind it. So, and Griffey had the sweetest swing in the game, so I'm going with the Griffeys.
Okay, Brett.
Great points. I have to agree with John that Ken Griffey definitely had the sweetest swing in the league. But for your points, I'm actually gonna have to go with Bonds on this one.
Okay, Brian.
Well, I mean, I'm just gonna base it on what you guys said, and I felt like there was a lot left out about Bonds, and there was a lot of good support for Griffey and a lot of great rebuttal against Bonds. So I'm going to go with Griffey on this one.
Going with the Griffeys. Is that because I went against the Rooneys?
I base it on what's said in this place, not what's what I think outside of it. Nobody's saying anything about sweet strings. Nobody's saying anything about any of that other stuff. So I just go by what was said.
No worries. All right. 1C will be Muhammad and Layla Ali, represented by me. So I got to go back to back here. And Richard and Cal Petty, represented by Brian.
It's Lee and Richard Petty.
Oh, you're doing Lee and Richard. Okay.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Should have found that out beforehand, I guess. All right. Who could take the timer? Kevin, you got one?
Yeah, give me a second.
Who's first?
Unfortunately, I lost the coin toss, and it was elected that I had to go first. So
okay.
I will be first once again. Let me get off my Bonds notes.
I know when you're ready. All right.
I am ready.
Go.
So I'm not even going to go to the stats on this one. Let's start with Layla. She's a member of the Feeding America Council to End Hunger. She's a fitness and wellness expert. She found the Layla Ali lifestyle brand. She wrote the book Reach, which is a book to inspire young people. She supported the following charities: the American Diabetes Association, American Heart Association, American Stroke Association, Diamonds in the Raw Foundation, Greater Than AIDS, Muhammad Ali Parkinson's Center, Muscular Dystrophy Association. The list goes on and on. Okay. She's co-hosted American Gladiators, Everyday Health, Fashion Police. She's a correspondent for the CBS Early Show. She was on Dancing with the Stars. Because there's been people that have said that, you know, oh, her legacy isn't as great as Muhammad's. It's not, but it's still a good, positive legacy for, and a good role model for people. She was on Celebrity Apprentice and Family Feud, just to name a few other shows. Muhammad Ali donated millions to charity organizations, disadvantaged people of all religious backgrounds. It's estimated that he helped to feed more than 22 million people afflicted by hunger across the world. There's no name in any sport that is known as much worldwide as Muhammad Ali. I can't think of any in the world. Apollo Creed from Rocky was based off of Muhammad Ali. Because of Ali, we have the coined phrases: float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Service to others is rent you pay for your room here on earth. He's even quoted.
30 seconds.
In 1987, he received the California Bicentennial Foundation for the U.S. Constitution. And they selected Ali to personify the vitality of the U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights. He's participated in rallies in support of Palestine, Sudan, flights and famine victims. And Ali announced his support for the re-election of the United States President Ronald Reagan because he said he's keeping God in schools, and that's not enough. We need to do.
All right, Brian. Wait, who's going against you? Brian?
Brian.
Yeah.
Brian, 1 minute rebuttal. Go.
Okay, so you know, for Layla, I'm hearing a lot about her charity work, stuff like that, but yeah, I didn't really hear a lot about what she did in the ring, and that's because really, like, to the casual sports fan, you know, everybody kind of knows that she was a, you know, a boxer, and she followed in her father's footsteps, but you know, her career was not really anything that anybody was really all that excited about. So I kind of feel like, I mean, yes, Muhammad Ali is the greatest, one of the greatest athletes that there ever was. So I kind of feel like this is another like very imbalanced combination here, where Layla really was insignificant in the grand scheme of American sports and even sports worldwide. So yeah, I'm just not seeing how that is such a, you know, such a powerful father-child combo. I'm done.
Okay, Brian, you will be up making your case for the Petties.
Right.
You ready, Brian?
Yeah.
All right, 2 minutes, go.
Okay, the Petty name in motorsports is just synonymous. I mean, you can't think of motorsports and not think about the Petties. When you had Lee Petty, he won the first NASCAR race ever at Daytona. NASCAR came from the old moonshine bootleggers, and Lee Petty was a moonshine bootlegger early on, and morphed into this just great, larger than life NASCAR racing figure. He's an international motorsports Hall of Famer, American Motorsports Hall of Famer, NASCAR Hall of Famer. He ran over 425 races, 54 wins, 332 top tens. He's just he also founded Petty Enterprises, which Petty Enterprises is a huge name in motorsports. And then you go on to Richard Petty. Richard Petty was even greater than his dad. I mean, his dad was a Hall of Famer. Richard Petty was just an absolute legend. 200 NASCAR wins. No one will ever touch that. 7-time Daytona winner. That's the most ever. 7 times he won a NASCAR championship. That's only been matched by a couple guys. 27 race wins in just 1967 alone. I mean, you only see maybe 4 or 5 now in a season. 10 consecutive race wins. I mean, that was just an amazing run. 123 poles. Nobody has more than that in their career. Over 700 top tens. And then in 1984, he wins his 200th race with Ronald Reagan in attendance. And Ronald Reagan comes down and celebrates with him in Victory Lane. I mean, that's how big his legacy was. And then when he has his final race in 1992, there's 160,000 people watching, and George H.W. Bush comes down and celebrates, the ending of this monumental career. So this legacy is just unbelievable, awesome, and synonymous with motorsports and with American sports.
Okay, Mike, your minute rebuttal. Go.
I'll just say this real quick about Layla, 24-0, 5 titles, and the first ever woman to main event a boxing match. Just saying about that. So the Petties, let me give you the legacy real quick of Mr. Richard Petty. 1996, arrested for hit and run. 1969, he was made president of the Professional Driver Association, which was basically a union to protect drivers, but under his watch, it was squashed and never returned. It ranked as the 13th most embarrassing moment in racing history by Bleacher Report. In 1965, he was being a baby about safety rule changes, so he quit and tried drag racing, where he sent his car flying into a crowd, injured 7, and killed an 8-year-old boy. And he's not talking about Cal Petty, but if you want something that's embarrassing, take a look at his country music career.
15.
And when I think of motorsports racing, I'm sorry, I think of the Earnhardts. I'm done. Okay. John,
Yes.
who are you taking?
Great. Once again, great points. Rebuttal. You can't deny Mike's rebuttal. But then also the Ali's, I'm going to have to go with them simply for the fact that his legacy is forever, inside the ring and outside. So that's who I'm going with.
Kevin.
You both had great points, as I agree. But unfortunately, I think I agree with John. Muhammad Ali does have, the long-lasting legacy, and his daughter is still in the spotlight here and there. So I do have to agree that the Alis have a better legacy.
Brett.
Can't believe I'd actually say this because again, Muhammad Ali is one of my favorite athletes of all time. You said the points of his legacy that he leaves, but I was actually going to have to go with the Petties just because of the points made by Brian there, and I would have to take the Petties overall.
Okay, 2-1. Ali's move on. Let's go to the final first round matchup. We are going to have Brett representing Dell and Steph Curry. Maybe he'll throw the other brother in too, like he did earlier with Eli. And Kevin will be representing the Halls, the only NHL representative in here, Bobby and Brett Hall. I'll take the timer for this one, guys. The coin toss elected that Brett will have to go first. You ready?
Ready.
Go.
All right. We'll go ahead and we will start with the father, Dell. He had 16 seasons in the NBA. He had a career .457 career shooting percentage, actually something that stands out more to me for him. Again, we know this about Steph already, but the father, Dell, he had a .402 3-point shooting percentage for his career, which actually is better than LeBron and Michael Jordan, just to name a couple. He was an NBA Sixth Man of the Year award winner. He actually also retired as the all-time leading scorer for the Charlotte Hornets, and he has been inducted into the Virginia Sports Hall of Fame. So father's got a nice little legacy there for him, but now we're to Steph Curry, the one who's creating and leaving his legacy right now as one of the greatest NBA players, definitely three-point shooters of all time. He's been active for 11 seasons so far. He has a .435 three-point shooting percentage. He's a 3-time NBA champion, 6-time NBA All-Star, 2-time NBA All MVP. He is only 11 seasons in, and he currently sits third on the NBA's all-time three-point shooting list. And again, we go for over three-point records. He holds multiple NBA single-season records for most threes made in a season, most threes made in a playoff run in NBA playoffs. And then he holds multiple other NBA records regarding the three-point shooting.
30.
And again, when you look at it, when you talk about basketball, there's some names that stand out that people know right away, even people who don't follow basketball. Obviously, you got your LeBron James, James Harden's, you got Steph Curry. You can say Steph Curry, and multiple people are going to know who you're talking about right away. So again, you're talking about legacies being left right now. That's why I'd have to go with the Currys. I'm done.
Okay. Kevin, 1 minute rebuttal. Ready, go.
Yeah, I mean, it's no lie. Steph Curry is pretty much the man, and it's kind of hard to rebuttal the Currys. But I will say, Del Curry did have, a decent career in Charlotte, but, he was a consistent backup later on in his career. Steph Curry has pretty much had an all-star team his whole career, so of course you're going to put up big numbers. One season, they went 73-9. They only lost 9 games in a whole season. That should tell you something about the team that he was playing on. Steph Curry was good in college, and he came out, firing at all cylinders. He does have good stats, I'm not going to lie. But, when you're playing on an all-star team like that,
15.
you're definitely going to have high numbers. You're definitely going to win championships. And if I'm not mistaken, Kevin Durant beat him in most categories the one season that they went and won the championship.
Done? Okay. Kevin, 2 minutes on the halls.
Yep.
Ready?
All right, go.
Go.
All right, so legacies. This is the best father-son duo probably in the NHL, if not all sports across the board. Multiple sites have said that the Halls are the best duo in sports history. Bobby's one of the greatest to ever step on the ice. He was called the Golden Jet. His son Brett was called the Golden Brett, and that's because they scored goals and they lit it up. Both of them are Hall of Famers. They have multiple All-Star games. They've won multiple Stanley Cups. Both of them have over 600 goals. The first father-son duo tandem to score 50-plus goals in a season. No one's ever done that besides them. They both. This is a stat that y'all probably don't know, and it's a good trivia question. They're the only father-son duo to both have their jerseys retired, and that's in all sports. No other sport has had the father and the son's jerseys retired, and we all know that is a feat in itself to get your jersey retired. On top of both of them being put into the Hall of Fame. Both averaged more than a point a game for the regular season. They both almost averaged a point a game in playoffs. And let's be honest, NHL hockey is the hardest championship to win. It's the longest season. Well, NBA has a similar length, but it is the
30.
hardest sport to win the championship. They've won multiple times. It's not easy like basketball. They're not going 73-9 in a season. They're just unbelievable on and off the ice. Stats speak for itself. Done.
All right. Rhett, 1 minute rebuttal. Ready? Go.
All right. So now we're in my sport, man, hockey. And, I'm going to start with Brett Hull. I have to say, overall, I love the guy as a player. There's not a ton that you can really pick out of his career on or off the ice that really would taint his legacy. I mean, maybe he was too short, 5'11". He was drafted, 117th overall when he first, or how about this? He hit the post on his first shift of the game. The guy can't even make it in the net in his first game. But no, again, I'm just some of his teammates said that he wasn't the best skater and he wasn't the greatest two-way player, but overall, I'm going to focus real quick on Bobby Hull. You're talking about legacies that get tainted. After his career, he was a well-known heavy drinker. He was known to
15.
abuse his wives, and he was a Nazi sympathizer. He also pled guilty to assaulting a police officer during a domestic violence incident. This is multiple things that can really taint. It doesn't matter all that you do on the ice when you step off.
Time.
Done.
Okay. Brian, let's go to you first.
All right. Well, I mean, there were some good points made. I'm not really big on like reading a guy's rap sheet or anything, so that's not really my thing. But so I'm gonna favor the Halls on this one, because I think that there's just more support, more positive support for their legacy, their sports legacy.
Okay. I'll go second here. I agree with Brett, and I do look at rap sheets because I believe that's part of the legacy. I mean,
Yeah, we've seen you do it earlier.
Everybody thinks the Bengals are criminals, so for that reason alone, I'd take the Currys. John.
It's up to me, huh?
Yeah.
But I'm gonna have to go with simply on the facts and both topics or what you guys discussed. I'm gonna go with Kevin, and then also we did fail to mention Seth Curry, so that's
Yeah.
one
Okay.
that was MIA in
He's
this
easy to forget.
debate. So
Yeah.
All
Can't
right.
read
So the Halls will move on to the second round. Our second round is set. We have the Mannings versus the Griffeys, the Allis versus the Halls. Are we ready to everybody ready to get started for the second round? All right.
Yeah.
So Brett will be with the Mannings. Kevin will be with the Griffeys. We're gonna flip for it. Brett, call it in the air. Heads or tails?
Tails.
It's heads. Kevin, you want to go first?
I'll go second.
Go second. All right. Brett, ready? Go.
All right, so we'll go back, to the Mannings again. They have quite a legacy going on. I'm gonna just throw off a couple of stats I didn't even get to here. We're looking at Peyton Manning. He had 8 divisional championships. We're not, as we discussed in the first round, Archie doesn't have as much of the Hall of Fame legacy as his sons do. So we'll focus kind of on the other 2 sons here. But again, Peyton Manning, 8 divisional championships, 2 AFC, 1 Super Bowl. You talk about legacies that are left in their sports and things that you always remember. Will you always remember what a player does? Let's look at Eli Manning. Yeah, the guy had a lot of interceptions. He, hasn't had the typical career of a Hall of Famer. But when you look at it, he has 27 comebacks and 37 game-winning drives, including one of the greatest Super Bowls to ever be played and one of the greatest upsets in Super Bowl 42. The Giants took down the undefeated Patriots. Everybody knows that game for what? The helmet catch. Eli threw it. Again, you leave legacies, people remember things like this. And then you want to go, and you know what? I'm going to pull something out of the hat too. We're going to talk about somebody that's out there. Cooper Manning, who's another son of Archie, has his son playing in high school football right now. And you want to talk about legacy still coming up. The dude is a freshman in high school. He starts on varsity, and he just threw for 2,438 yards, 34 touchdowns, and
30.
6 interceptions in his freshman varsity year in 1920. So I know we're trying to do father-son duos. I'm going a little outside the box here, but if you're talking about the name, the Mannings, and the legacy that they're leaving, they have another one coming up who looks like he could continue that family legacy of being a quarterback in the NFL. I'm done.
Okay. Kevin, 1 minute rebuttal. Ready? Go.
Yeah, so I love Peyton Manning. I always rooted for him over Tom Brady. And like you said, this is supposed to be father and child, not children. So you're supposed to pick one or the other. That's why I didn't know I was going to face a whole family. And it can't really help how many kids somebody has. But yeah, the Mannings, Peyton and Eli, they've won Super Bowls, like I've mentioned when I was the judge on your first round. They are good. Archie is not a Hall of Famer. He doesn't have the stats to be a Hall of Famer. Peyton Manning was facing sexual assault related allegations when he was in University of Tennessee, which, our one judge, Michael here, likes to go to rap sheets. Sexual assault is one of the big
15.
things around with these professional sports athletes, and he has that on him. And I don't know what happened with him in his Papa John's when that all went down. So just saying.
Time. Okay. Kevin, your argument for the Griffeys. Ready? Go.
So yeah, I didn't really mention any stats the first round that I went, so I'm going to mention some stats now because their stats are pretty good. I think I did mention that 13 All-Star games for Ken Griffey Jr. His father also made 3. His father was a big part of the Big Red Machine back in Cincinnati in 75 and 76, where he's won 2 World Series. Yeah, Junior never got to the World Series victory under his belt, but his stats are legit. They were not supported with performance-enhancing drugs like other players. He's won 7 Silver Slugger Awards, 10 consecutive Gold Glove Awards. He batted .284 for his career, had over 1,800 RBIs. His father actually had a better
15.
At 15. I thought I get 2 minutes.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
The father batted .296 for a batting average. He had A little over 850 RBIs. He was inducted into the Reds Hall of Fame. A stat that is actually pretty remarkable with Ken Griffey Jr. First ballot got inducted into Hall of Fame. And do you know that he secured 99.3% of the votes, which is a record? And I'm pretty sure that probably is a record for all sports into the Hall of Fame. 99.3% on the first ballot. And that's pretty good if you ask me. He continues to have the name out there as one of the best players to ever play. And I want to go back to his rookie card is actually still selling for over $1,000 right now, which is pretty remarkable because he's had a good career. He's had the Hall of Fame career. And I think his stats speak for himself, and him and his father had a good legacy, and I think it still lives. And players still look up to Griffey Jr. and want to model his play. Done.
Okay. Brett, 1 minute rebuttal. Go.
All right. I'm gonna really focus on the one, Griffey that I am more familiar with, Griffey Jr. here. And, we talk about steroids, and there's not actually been any evidence to show that he hasn't, just like we discussed with the Bonds thing. There's been no evidence to show that he hasn't. And, there's actually been moments where he's talked about possibly admitting to it without actually saying the words. But the thing I talk about with Griffey Jr. is, you look at stories and you read a lot of stories about him, and there's always the quote, what if. He's one of baseball's greatest what if stories because of his injuries. He always had an injury. And then when you talk about legacies left, yeah, you can't deny his stats, his swing, things like that. But he's also one of baseball's greatest what ifs. What could his career have been? What could his legacy have been if he wasn't injury prone? If he could have been healthy all those years. And that's what I have to look at, because when you look up stories, that's tagged to him. Done.
It's time. Oh, good. All right. Thank you. John, you get the first vote.
All right. Right out the gate. I think, Brett, you won me over in the rebuttal. It's a what if story. And the Mannings, their legacy is in big games to me. And we've seen it on the biggest stages. So I'll take the Mannings.
That's a tough one. I mean, I did lose to the Griffeys, but wow. I'm gonna go with the Griffeys just for the simple fact that I think the father of the Griffeys was a lot better than the father of the Mannings. Brian, it's on you. You're the deciding factor here.
Well, again, I'll base it on what was said and not what was not said. So I'm going to go with the Griffeys.
Okay. The Griffeys will be in the finals.
Come on, man. Peyton gave us the first sports back during the coronavirus. Jeez, man. That was coming up next.
Okay. Second round matchup 2B, the Alis represented by me and the Halls represented by Kevin. Kevin, call it in the air.
Yeah, flip. Head.
I did. It's tails. You know what? I've gone first this whole thing, so I might as well go first again.
All right, I got you on the timer.
Thank you.
Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Go for it.
Okay, so I didn't go stats last time on the Alis, so I will this time. I did mention Layla was undefeated with 24 wins, and she was part of the first main event for women's boxing history against Jackie Frazier. She's the BET winner of Sportswoman of the Year. She's won titles in both super middleweight and light heavyweight. Now on to Muhammad's boxing career: 56 wins, 5 losses, U.S. national champ, Gold Gloves winner in 59 and 60. Olympic gold in 1960, and he was the first ever 3-time heavyweight champion. Muhammad Ali defeated every top heavyweight in his era, which has been called the golden age of boxing. We all know how ridiculous the heavyweights are nowadays. Ali was named Fighter of the Year by the Ring magazine more times than any other fighter, and he was involved in more Ring Fights of the Year bouts than any other fighter. He was an inductee into the International Boxing Hall of Fame. He's held wins over 7 other Hall of Fame inductees. He was one of only 3 boxers to be named Sportsman of the Year by Sports Illustrated. The fight against Frazier and Foreman made the phrases that we all use today, Thrilla in Manila and Rumble in the Jungle, known worldwide. Off of boxing, he has 2 Grammy nominations for musical works. A boxer has 2 Grammy nominations. Back to Layla. Hulk
30
Hogan.
seconds.
Hulk Hogan credits her with saving his life when he was suicidal after his divorce and had hard times with his family that was going on. Muhammad, in 1974, he visited a Palestine refugee camp in southern Lebanon. In 1980, he was recruited by President Jimmy Carter for a diplomatic mission to Africa. In 81, he talked a suicidal man down from jumping off a 9th floor ledge in an event that made. Okay.
Okay, Kevin, your 1 minute rebuttal. Go for it.
So yeah, Muhammad Ali, I mean, no doubt has good stats. But you know, he I don't feel like he really supported the country that he was living in and fighting in. You know, in 1966, he refused to be inducted into the armed forces, which led to him being systematically denied a boxing license in every state, stripped his passport, he lost his titles. At one point, yeah, it did get overturned like 5 years later, but he opposed the war and didn't want to go to battle when he was called upon, which kind of, you know, to me, I mean, this country has provided for him, and he was trying to, you know, have a legacy, and when the country needed him, he dipped out. He avoided.
15 seconds.
He opposed. And to me, I mean, sorry, if I'm drafted, I'm going. Done.
Okay, now for your 2 minutes. Ready and go.
All right, so I just wanted to touch more on the Hall's stats. So, of course, yeah, Mike mentioned earlier in this podcast, you know, about, or somebody mentioned about Bobby Hall being, you know, arrested and having issues outside of his career, but you know, athletes all the time are getting arrested for things. Doesn't make it right, but it doesn't necessarily taint a legacy. I mean, Bobby did a lot for the sport. He made the Hall of Fame in 1983. He had 12 All-Star games. His son, Brett, made the Hall of Fame in 2009. He was in 8 All-Star games. They both have won Stanley Cups. Bobby, I believe, had won 1 and Brett won 2. They both won Hart trophies. Like I said before, they both had over 600 goals. Brett Hall is 4th all time in scoring goals in the NHL. Both of them have won MVP awards. Both have won Lady Byng trophies. Brett Hall has also won a Pearson Award. Brett Hall has had 5 50-plus goal seasons, as did Bobby Hall. Both father-son duo have had 5 50-plus goal seasons. And like I said, they're both some of the best players to ever jump on the ice. You know, Brett Hall is tied with
30 seconds.
playoff goals, playoff game-winning goals. I'm sorry. They're the first and only father-son combo inducted into a Hall of Fame. And their stats speak for themselves. They've done work outside of the ice. Brett Hall has done business deals. He's been in restaurants, getting out in the community. So I think that just alone their stats and what they did on the ice is enough to carry them through and make them one of the best duos in sports history.
Stop. Okay, Michael's rebuttal. Start.
Okay, no one would ever say that the Halls are even the best in hockey. Those 2 players are in our debate next month. If I go to another country outside of the United States or Canada, do you really think that they've heard of Bobby Hall or Brett Hall over Muhammad Ali? Probably not. Bobby's stats are inflated. He played with what's called a banana blade. Okay, they made rules against that because of the way he played with the banana blade. Brett mentioned earlier all of Bobby's history, so I won't even go into his. But here's one for Brett. You helped destroy hotel rooms at the 98 Olympics because they lost and didn't like the refereeing. That was a taint on the American Olympic athletes. And I remember that blatantly at the time. And it was mentioned that Bobby made the pro-Nazi comments. He stated Hitler had some good ideas. His first wife, divorced him after the abuse incidents. His third wife accused him as well of assault and battery. His alcohol was well documented, as Brett said earlier.
That's it.
Okay. Brian.
I'm gonna go with the Halls on this one.
Okay. John.
I'm gonna go with Michael, quick and easy.
Okay. Brett.
Oh, this is a difficult one here. Again, going back, you both made good points. If I'm going strictly by legacies, again, I kind of do pay attention to what goes on outside, because I think that as an athlete, you need to be upstanding in your sport and outside your sport. And I can't look past the Bobby Hull thing. I'm going to go with the Ali's.
Okay. So our final debate will be the Griffies, represented by Kevin, against the Ali's, represented by me. But before we get there, we're going to throw out tonight's trivia question for a prize. The first person to answer it in the comments section will be the winner of our prize. If you've already won one, you can't win another one. Sorry, guys. And if nobody can answer it, we'll post the question later on, see if we can get an answer that way. So here's tonight's trivia question. What is the name of the actress who is married to one of July's debate topic and the full title of the movie that she starred in with Lloyd Braun, a character from Seinfeld? So if you didn't get all that question, you'll be able to hear it on the replay on the saved recorded version. Okay. Before we get to the final debate, we all have one honorable mention that we'd like to throw out. We've been putting a bunch of honorable mentions on the group page throughout the last month. Kevin, who's your honorable mention?
So I took the house, Gordy and Mark, and I know he also had another son that played Marty, but I even got the Detroit Red Wing swag because I was his main team. But I mean, Gordie Howe is Mr. Hockey. I mean, come on. Dude played hockey forever. He played hockey from 1946 to 1980. He got to play alongside of his sons, both of them, Mark and Marty. And he ended his career in Hartford. 23 All-Star games for Gordy, 6 MVPs, 6 Art Ross trophies, 4 Stanley Cups, second all-time in goals, 4th all-time in points. And then even his son, Mark, played 16 years. He was in multiple All-Star games, and he is 3-time runner-up for Norris Trophy.
End time. We're going to try and keep him at 45 seconds, speed this up a little bit. Brian, who's your honorable mention?
I went with Ed and Steve Sable. They were the father-son group, and they founded the NFL Films. I think the NFL Films was so instrumental in the growth of the NFL. I mean, it began back in the 60s and the 70s when NFL pretty much trailed significantly to baseball and to boxing really at that time. And this was something that was slow motion photography, the great orchestra style music, which really it slowed down and kind of showed like the graceful points of the game, and it really brought. I really think it really connected. It took a rugged game and really kind of made it like it made it graceful. It made it something that was relatable to more people. So I think it was just a very important in the overall progression of pro football.
Okay, Brett.
For mine, I kind of went a little outside the box because some people wouldn't necessarily consider this a sport. They'd call it more entertainment, but I went with Rocky Johnson. And then of course, everyone knows Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. just because of the legacies. I mean, right now, honestly, I don't think you can pick one person in entertainment that is leaving a bigger legacy than Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I mean, you look at his Instagram and he's got, 80 million followers. He has his own brands from Under Armour. The guy it's just everything. His own tequila. This guy's just blowing up. But then you look at his father, Rocky Johnson, and, his father broke waves with wrestling because he and his partner became the first Black tag team champions, in the WWF when he was around. And so, again, just that was my honorable mention.
John, you got anybody you want to mention?
Nope. I'm sorry, guys.
Well, that's quite all right.
I didn't prepare myself.
That's all right. My honorable mention is Man of War and War Admiral. Horse racing, of course. Man of War was 20-1. War Admiral was 21-3-1. Man of War won the Preakness, the Belmont, 17 major wins. He's a Hall of Famer. War Admiral won 8 majors, the Triple Crown in 37. He went into the Hall of Fame as well. Their bloodline was ranked #1 of the 100 greatest horses. And part of their bloodline, listen to these horses: Seattle Slew, Seabiscuit, American Pharaoh, and Pharaoh won the Triple Crown in 2015. Seattle Slew won it in 77. Just an amazing history of horse racing in that family. I don't think there's a bigger one out there than them. So, time. All right.
Time.
All right, for our finals, who wants to take the clock?
I got it.
You got
Got
it?
it.
Thanks, Brian.
Brett, call it in the air. Heads or tails?
Tails. Why am I calling it?
Why not?
Okay, tails.
Okay, it's tails. Your choice.
Ooh, you know what? Kevin's gone second. I'll have him go first this time. He's gone second quite a bit. So.
Okay.
Okay,
And
Kevin.
yes, hold on. Hey, in our finals matchup, Kevin representing the Griffies and me representing the Alis. All right.
Okay, Kevin, are you ready?
Wait, how long do we get?
2
Same
minutes.
time?
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So, I mean, pretty much have gone through everything, but I'm just going to reiterate, the legacy of the Griffies. They both had long extending careers, 19 years for senior, 22 for junior. Both have had stats, and they both have made an impact on the sport of baseball. Andrew McCutcheon was quoted saying that he tried to model his game after Ken Griffey Jr. And McCutcheon's a good player for him to be looking up to Ken Griffey like that. And like I said earlier, Bryce Harper said that Ken Griffey Jr. changed the game for the better. There's not going to be anyone else like him to come into the game. Yeah, you mentioned earlier in this debate that Ken Griffey Jr. tried to commit suicide on aspirin in 1988. That was when he was 17 or 18 years old, depending when that allegedly happened. But that's not performance enhancing drugs. Yeah, he may have had an issue when he was young. 17, he got drafted, and then he started playing in the MLB when he was 19, which actually would have put him in the MLB after that alleged incident that you had brought up earlier. 99.3% voting first ballot Hall of Fame. He's
30 seconds.
He's had his own chocolate bar. He's had his own shoe line. He's had his own video games. Kids know his name. They know the Griffies. Their stats are good. He's a Hall of Famer, the junior. They had a good legacy.
All right. Now time for Michael's rebuttal. And go.
Okay, so you keep bringing up, the 99 point whatever Hall of Fame vote, and that was the greatest of all time. That is an inaccurate stat. The greatest of all time Hall of Fame vote went to Mariano Rivera. So there goes that. Yeah. What does it matter what year he committed suicide? Tried to commit suicide. It doesn't matter. He tried to do it regardless. But I'm just going to look at this from a world stage. Baseball has definitely expanded across the world, but the name Griffies is not going to be known and have a greater legacy worldwide as the name Ali's. I mean, just when I say Ali, people know what you're talking about no matter where you go. So just for that fact alone, I believe they have the better legacy because they are known worldwide. The Griffeys are not. I'm done.
Okay, now Michael, ready and go.
I gave you all the stats already on Ali's. So let me just go back to some more of their greatness. In 1976, Muhammad Ali versus Antonio Inoki. The fight played an important role in the history of mixed martial arts. Most people don't know that. The match inspired Inoki students to find Pancrase in 1993, which in turn inspired the foundation of the Pride Fighting Championships in 1977 and its rival, Ultimate Fighting. And that was all to the exposure that the name Ali gave to that fight. In 2015, Sports Illustrated renamed its Sportsman Legacy Award to the Sports Illustrated Muhammad Ali Legacy Award. Legacy being the award. And that annual award and honors, sports figures who embody the ideals of sportsmanship, leadership, and philanthropy as vehicles for changing the world. June 5th, 2007, he received an honorary doctorate of humanities from Princeton. November 2005, he opened the nonprofit Muhammad Ali Center, focuses on core themes of peace, social responsibility. 2005, he received the Presidential Medal of Freedom from George W. Bush, followed by the Otto Hahn Peace Medal from the UN Association of Germany for his work with civil rights in the United Nations. In 2001, he was presented with the Presidential Citizens Medal by President Bill Clinton. President after president have known how much he has meant to the world. He was named Sports Personality of the Century in a BBC poll. In 1999, Time Magazine named him one of the 100 most important people of the 20th century. He was the recipient of the Arthur Ashe Courage Award. Associated Press reported that Ali was tied with Babe Ruth as the most recognizable athlete in America. These just go on and on and on. I haven't even done half of the things that he's done.
That's it. Okay, now Kevin's rebuttal. And go.
So you keep mentioning all these great things that Ali has done. I don't really have anything negative to say about his daughter, but I had already mentioned the fact that he skipped out when he was asked to help support and fight for his country in the Vietnam War, which caused him to get his passport stripped and boxing titles. He also joined the Black Muslim group and started calling himself Cassius Clay. And Martin Luther King himself said he became a champion of racial segregation. And that is what we were fighting against. I think perhaps Cassius should spend more time proving his boxing skills and do less talking, especially now with everything that's going on about racial segregation. And for Martin Luther King to say that about him, that speaks volumes. He also cheated on a bunch of his wives, and he didn't think he should be criticized for it. He had mentioned that I got 3 or 4 ladies. He told that in New York Times, and that there shouldn't be a controversy. And his ex-wife said he knew it was wrong, but as long as he was having fun, he didn't care. Yeah, great role model that you want your kids to look up to.
And done.
Okay. Brett, you get the first vote.
Oh, great. Gotta go first on this
man.
one. Wow. Kevin, that was a really good rebuttal there against the Alis. I have to admit that definitely kind of plays in my mind. I don't want to take too much time, but this is a difficult vote. Mike, I'm going to say real quick the point that you made about worldwide. Again, you're true, because when you bring up Ali's name, you know exactly who they're talking about. You know, when growing up, people wanted to be Ali. The only thing really for Griffey, if you were a baseball fan, you emphasize the swing. So, oh man, I hate going first with this one. I'm going to have to go with the Alis.
Brian, on to you.
I'll tell you what, that was so far. Well, I mean, this is the last round, and of all the rebuttals, Kevin, that was the best rebuttal section, I think, of this entire thing, and that's really what tipped me over, tipped the scales for me as a judge, because if MLK is saying you're a bad guy, that really taints your legacy. So I'm gonna have to go with the Griffeys.
Oh man!
And our special guest judge is the decider.
That's why we
So
brought
this
you
is-
in, John.
This will be my last time on the show, probably. Huh? But I would say great points. The rebuttal definitely made me think about it. But man, this is tough. But I'm gonna go with the Ali's simply for the fact that every debate or every time you debated something, you added to his legacy. It wasn't just a repeat of stats. So I'm gonna go with Mike on this one.
Okay, there you have it. Our winner of the Legacy Battle Father-Child Duos is Muhammad and Layla Ali. I want to thank everyone who joined us tonight. Each debater, you guys did a great job. Thank you. Make sure you join us July 9th for Lemieux versus Gretzky. Got him on in the background right now. That's going to be a great debate, especially 3 out of 4 of us, our favorite sport is hockey. So reminder, join the Facebook group, check back frequently for updates. You want to sponsor us, give us the money, we'll throw your name up there. And good luck on that trivia question, everybody. God bless. Good night.
Everybody have a happy Father's Day. Any fathers watching? Thank you, everybody. It was great tonight.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, John.
Yeah. Yep.
Night,
Absolutely.
guys.
Yeah, thanks, John.
Thanks for having me. Good night.
Night.